Legend of Keepers is available on PC and Nintendo Switch. I reviewed the PC version of the game. A copy of Legend of Keepers was provided for me by the publisher for the purpose of review. Every gamer is pretty used to raiding dungeons, slaying dragons, and then walking away with a shiny +1 hammer of cheek clapping. But have you ever wondered how the villain feels about you evading his traps, mud stomping his minions, and stealing his loot? It turns out, heroes can be a real buzzkill. After playing Legend of Keepers, I definitely understand why Hades had such a temper. Legend of Keepers is a turn-based roguelite where you set the traps, pick the minions, and try to stop teams of adventurers from ruining your carefully laid plans and teabagging your chosen keeper.
Dip, potato chip, dip, potato chip.
The only thing missing is an anthropomorphic pug person vigorously humping my Legion of Doom, and it would be just like my weekly Pathfinder game.
Back from outer space, I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face.
If you've ever played the Boss Monster board game, the concept is similar, though Legend of Keepers is much deeper. You set up a gauntlet of rooms and try to wear down the heroes before they get to the end. Spells, traps, and a wide variety of monsters are all at your disposal. Heroes can be defeated in two ways: put them in the ground, or fill their pants with brown. Murder and fear are both viable, and the best dungeon masters know when to use both.
Hey there, demons, it's me, your boy.
Legend of Keepers is largely tongue-in-cheek, which keeps the game from feeling too dark despite the grim decor. In between the hero's attempts to fondle your jewels, you have to deal with the other half of being a villain, the role of a CEO. In Legend of Keepers, you will need to train employees and attempt to keep morale high. Not even the sweet release of death is enough to escape the corporate boot. Your monsters are resurrected to work some more. Doing this too often can cause them to suffer from burnout. You have to try to rotate your stock of expendables and occasionally throw them a bone or two. Hoarding wealth, treating workers poorly, and harvesting tears of sadness. You're practically running Amazon here. Nah, I'm kidding. The Keepers actually do stuff, so that's a terrible comparison. You earn gold by fending off the do-gooders. Murdering them also nets you blood, while frightening them gives you tears. You use these currencies in a variety of random events to buy new traps and monsters, or upgrade your existing ones, or maybe even raise team morale with the sacred boon of upper management: a pizza party.
Pizza party, pizza.
Or the monster equivalent of drinking blood, anyway. Each run takes place over weeks, with you handling several tasks in between raids. When a monster is injured or burnt out, it takes weeks to recover, and your management in between raids is just as important as during them. This downtime is where you hone your long-term strategy. Your big boss heals slowly, and the raids will defeat you through attrition if you don't plan ahead.
I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to take this time to explain my evil plan.
One of the most striking things about Legend of Keepers is just how good it looks and sounds. The pixel art isn't a hindrance, it's practically an advantage in this case. Despite the fact that there is a variety of heroes, traps, and monsters, they are all animated beautifully and backed up with great sound design. I don't normally notice sound effects all that much, but the swoosh of flames or the invoker speaking her invocation before throwing a firefox into my minion's face sounds delightful. You can also speed up the animations for a faster game, which is a great option. Interestingly, the sound effects all speed up fluidly as well, and I thought that was pretty nifty. A group of 3, mostly random heroes enter your dungeon and proceed through the various rooms. Some rooms are dedicated to traps, spells, or monsters. If you're lucky, it'll even have an extra disaster room with cool effects based on the environment. Sometimes they will have a rest area for the heroes. Sure, that makes things harder for your employees for no benefit, but if it made logical sense, you wouldn't truly feel like a CEO.
We're working so hard and so
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to instigate a new rule. No crying at work.
Heroes come in different shapes and sizes. Warriors, wizards, bards, and more, and as you encounter higher tiers, their appearance changes. Early barbarians are completely naked with one hand covering their waltons, but become fully armored later on. Bards begin as Jaskier, but end up as Rob Zombie.
Bollocks.
The key to winning a raid is adapting your rooms to this specific hero composition. Every creature has resistances and weaknesses. Heroes tend to have a couple of random skills, but the classes themselves have a specific attack. Some attacks target creatures in the front, and others in the back. If a hero punches the front runner with ice, it's probably a good idea to put an ice elemental on the front line, for example. But it's more nuanced than just that. You also want to try and target the hero's weaknesses and combo up on effects. If a hero has lower maximum morale than health, it might be worthwhile to try and frighten them instead. Even if you can't scare them away completely, lowering their morale causes them to take extra damage. Heroes are vastly superior to your monsters. Most monsters will go down in just a couple of hits, even if you have a good matchup. The key is you aren't trying to win a fight in a single room. You have to wear them down throughout the whole dungeon. Ideally, you take them out before they ever reach your keeper, and if not, leave them in a weak enough state that the keeper can finish them without taking much damage.
All that for a drop of blood.
The heroes are varied to the degree that you can never truly be sure what kind of combinations of classes and skills you'll be facing, but they can wear a bit thin given how much of the game is based around fighting them. There are around a dozen types of heroes in the game, give or take, not including boss champions. While there are some differences with higher tier versions of the same hero, they aren't that pronounced. The game could use a few more types of murder hobo just to spice things up.
Spontaneous combustion?
The amount of strategy involved in Legend of Keepers is incredibly satisfying, and it's split nicely between the actual raids and your planning weeks ahead of time. The events you engage with and the money you spend on new minions and upgrades prior to a raid is just as important as the raids themselves. While the events are random, you have control over what you engage with and even the strength of adventurers you battle in order to weigh the risk and reward. Defeating a champion might net you a rare reward, so you can debate with yourself on whether or not your current strategy can handle it or if it's too risky.
I've got this completely under control.
Is that why everything's on fire?
The events do tend to repeat often, which can be annoying, but they never lose that strategic factor. You might know that accepting human thighs from a shady supplier will bite you in the ass later on, but the gold could be worth it, and it's something you have to weigh in on. Legend of Keepers has that fun and unpredictable randomness the genre is known for, but tempers it with a lot of player choice that makes the randomness much more enjoyable. Legend of Keepers is a shockingly meaty game. You have 3 keepers to play as, though 2 of them must be unlocked first. Each of them has its own talent trees, minion types, spells, and playstyles. There's a wide variety of tools at your disposal with a huge variety of potential strategies and combos to come up with for each individual keeper. Each keeper also has 5 specific stages focusing on themed scenarios with a starting loadout. However, the real meat is when you unlock the Ascension and Endless modes. Both of them are freeform compared to the rigid nature of the scenarios and allow you to fully customize your starting minions and trap choices within a set budget. My only real gripe is you have to unlock those modes for each specific keeper. Unlocking them with one doesn't unlock them with the other 2. I personally prefer the freedom those modes offer over the standard stages. The game itself is pretty tough, and each run is lengthy, so it can take quite a while to get there with each keeper, and that can be frustrating. Legend of Keepers does feature a highly modular difficulty system though, that allows you to tweak individual aspects of the game to your liking. I prefer challenging experiences, and I'm pretty keen on games having difficulty settings, but Legend of Keepers goes above and beyond with its customizable options. Win or lose, each keeper gains XP that you can spend on a talent tree, so you do have some meta progression that comes with you. You can also reset the tree and respec between runs, which is really nice. With 3 keepers and an impressive roster of minions, traps, and neat mechanics, Legend of Keepers offers a ton of replay value. Legend of Keepers' reverse dungeon crawl concept is unique and executed almost flawlessly. It has several layers of intertwining mechanics that make it strategically satisfying to play, and on top of it, it's a great game to look at and listen to while you do it. Plus, it offers a ton of content and replay value for a pretty low price. There really isn't all that much that I can criticize. I do admit the game nearly lost me early on. The set scenarios are interesting, but lack the same replay value and customization I was hoping for, but the Endless and Ascension modes gave me exactly what I wanted. It's just a bummer that they have to be unlocked for all 3 keepers individually. Legend of Keepers nails the gambler's high of unpredictable randomness while putting the player's agency at the forefront to actually use that randomness in a meaningful way, and that's the hallmark of a good roguelite game.
We're bad guys, it's what we do.
To recap, the pros. The game has fantastic animation and sound effects. There are 3 unique keepers and a wide variety of spells, traps, and minions. The Endless and Ascension modes offer high replay value. There's a great blend of randomness and player choice. The reverse dungeon crawl concept is unique and interesting. There is tons of strategy between the weeks leading up to a raid, the preparation phase, and the actual raid. The game features highly customizable difficulty settings. The cons. The Endless and Ascension modes are locked behind a small campaign for each individual keeper. The game could use a few more hero types, and events do tend to repeat pretty often. Overall, I give Legend of Keepers a 9.0 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, liking and subscribing is immensely helpful. I've also left several links down in the description below. One to my website where you can find the bulk of my written content, one to my creator store where you can buy games that support this content, including a link to Legend of Keepers, and my Ko-fi page if you feel like tossing in a donation. In any case, thanks for watching, and until next time.